Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. And I'm back after a while, and we are going to talk about, as you can see in the screen, Python. More specifically, Python source code and how to obfuscate Python source codes. So, before talk about the main, let's say, approach and or let's say solution, we are going to it's better to know what type of programming language we have. Of course, you can divide programming language in different categories, different perspective you can have. But uh, we are going to talk about the interpreted based programming languages like Python, or as you can know, as you already know, we have compiler based programming languages like C++, Go, I don't know, Rust, the list goes on. And the main difference, there are many differences, but we can say in the first look, compiler based programming languages are those type of programming language that the source code compile to the machine language at the time of compilation. At least most of them, or some intermediate programming language, but let's say to some kind of machine language. And the source, in a normal situation, the source code is not observable after compilation because it's basically machine language and you cannot see, just like a random exe file you see in Windows. But on the other hand, we have things like Python, Ruby, or I don't know, JavaScript, and so on. Basically, you have a script and you have interpreted the program, or let's say virtual machine, installed on the host. So when you run a Python code, actually it is translating to the machine language at the time of execution. So basically, that's why they are a bit slower, and and that's why you have to have Python installed in a host computer to run your script, and but you don't have such an issue when you write let's say, a code with C++, for example. Okay, so that was the beginning, but uh, the problem that we are going to, let's say, address, like we are going to talk about one of the ways that you can address the problem is obfuscation of the source code. For example, you have written a specific Python script and you want to hand it over to someone, or you want to hand it over to some organization or whatever. And for any reason that you have policy, whatever, you have some a specific approach that you worked hard for and so on, you don't want to hand over the original source code that is observable for, let's say, other people, right? Uh, there are, of course, many approaches that you can do to hide your source code. Okay, you can provide your Python code as an API, which is, let's say, there is an interface between client and your original code, so they cannot see the original code. This is one way. You can, for example, use a project like I talked about it in the previous video, Codon, Codon, that you can basically compile the Python script, but it doesn't support all the syntaxes and all the libraries. But there is another way, is using some kind of libraries that obfuscate your source code to the some type of, let's say, code. I cannot say it is unreadable, but for, let's say, average user or even semi-pro user, it is very hard to understand the source code, but still your code is running. Okay, so we want to make it simple. We want to change the code in a way that is still runnable, but it's very hard to understand from the point of view of a stranger or a person that you don't want to share the code with. Okay. One of the things, there are various ways, various libraries, different libraries, but the one that we are going to talk about now is called Pyarmor. So let's Google it, huh? And see Google, okay? And Pyarmor, yeah, obfuscate, something like this. So as you can see, there are, let's say, uh, it's some kind of open source project, or even let me just go directly to the documentation. They have a good documentation with all the details explained. And we are going to, let's say, cover the basics at least, how to getting started with it, how to use this library to obfuscate your code. You can go simply into this address, just Google Pyarmor documentation, getting started, and you have very, very good, let's say, documentation that you can work with. So before, let's say, talking too much, let's go to the code and see in a practical. And of course, I will explain and talk on the code itself. But let's see an example and try to use this library. So, for example, choose any type of course, IDE you are uh, familiar with. So I use VS Code in this case, and I already created a folder. It's called Pyarmor, and I'm going to, let's say, just start with a simple hello world. Let's not make it complicated, and then we will go to the different examples. So if I put a, let's say, I don't know, a hello word here, so I would like hello.py. So this is my Python code, right? So let's print hello world 10 times. So for I in range 10, maybe it's better for me to make it a bit bigger, because previous time I had some comments that it is a bit unvisible. So print hello world. Right? Oh, print. Okay. So basically, now I don't know, you might say, okay, you have a code, I don't know, hundreds of lines, very sophisticated approach and things like this, but it has no difference than to a simple code. And let's see how can we use Pyarmor. So of course, before everything, you can simply install the library. So pip install Pyarmor, right? At the time that I'm making this video, the last version is, if I'm not mistaken, 8 something, 8.4.7. And so it is, because it's already installed on my computer, so it is, we have it here. And how to use it. So it is, it has some kind of different, let's say, commands, different type of, let's say, parameters, but at the moment, let's have everything simple. So simply, I will just put Pyarmor if you have installed it already. So let's make sure that it is there. Yeah, I have it. So Pyarmor help. It says, okay, version, silent, debug. So there are some main commands here, that the main one that we are going to work is like generate. Basically, so simply, it says like generate obfuscated script and required runtime file. So Pyarmor, I'm going to use it, right? Armor, yeah, and gen. Okay, and let's just simply put the code. For example, hello.py. Let's see what happens. So it says, okay, it did something, the Python version and things like that. So before everything, let me tell you something about these infos. As you can see here, It is, for example, on my computer, I have Python 3.10.4, and I am using a Windows platform at this moment. The thing and a limitation about this library is when you hand over the obfuscated version of your code somewhere, okay, the version and the platform must be the same. It means that, I mean, if I'm taking my code to a company somewhere, it should be the Windows platform and the version of the Python should be the same. Okay. So let's see what changed here. As you can see, the default folder, when we don't specify a name, is called dist here. So let's see what is inside. Okay, we have a hello. This is the inside the dist, and some other, let's say, folder that we are going to talk about. So let me close it. Okay, let me open it. Aha. As you can see here, it changed the, let's say, in the code that I had. Okay, the first line is a Pyarmor trial version and things like this, and the free version is what and the parameters it supports. It's just the area of our focus. So we have Pyarmor 8.4, and it says from Pyarmor runtime 000, basically a folder that it made here, import Pyarmor. So it generated some kind of, maybe we can say, some kind of translator or decryptor, so that can decrypt the encrypted file. You can see here it's called bytecode of our Python code. It's very long, as you can see here. So our code is translated to bytecode. Of course, use some kind of let's say encryption methods and so on, which this runtime that is generated understands. Okay, and let's see what is in this folder. So okay, it made the let's say init, so initiation file, and as you can see, and also it sometimes generates some kind of it's called Python bytecodes. That is some kind of compiled modules of Python. We are not going to go to the deep. So basically, it generates a folder for you, and let's say anything that is related there. Okay, let's see how to use it. Okay, let's see. I just created a. Okay, my code is inside dist, right? So let's go cd dist. Okay, clear. So dir, what are the, here we have, so this folder and this hello.py. As you can see, this hello.py is different, but let's see if it runs the same or no. So Python, and hello.py. As you can see, it works the same. Okay, it generates PyCache as well, not important, but its code ran even though it looks like this. And one thing to know, that there is no need for your, let's say, external host, I mean the place that you are going to put your code later, to have Pyarmor installed, because basically it packs everything within the folder. So it's like it has a local version of itself somehow. So basically you don't need to install Pyarmor on that I don't know, the client or server that you're going to shift your code to. So as you can see, we have our code here, and we don't have any problem, and it runs, and it's very difficult to understand what was the code, even though that it is very, very basic code. So let me delete here and go to more, I don't know, let's say, if I can say, let's see other parameters it offers. So I'm deleting everything, and I'm going to create a folder, let's say code test, and I'm going to, this time, instead of one simple script, I'm going to write it in a way that, for example, we have a library that we are going to import, and basically two Python files that use each other. I mean, one of the files, which is the main, is going to import a function from the other Python file. Okay. And because we are not going to teach Python itself, I'm going to go with a very, very easy example and just about a prime number. Okay. So I'm going to make some kind of, let's say, a library or if a function inside another Python file. So I would say mylib, for example, .py. I'm going to put a prime function here and another library, another file, and it's called prime.py, the main file, basically. So at first, just for the sake of, let's say, the understanding the concept, I'm going to write a very, very simple prime function. So let's make, I'm going to write a code that prints, for example, all the prime numbers below, I don't know, 20 or 30, whatever. So let's write a function that if a number just checks a number is a prime or no. So I would like, for example, def is prime, and it gets a number, right? Let's say n, and if n is smaller than 2, then of course return false, and then go to the main part, for example, for I in range, so we start from 2, right? 2 int, and by the power of, let's say, basically I mean to the I'm just going to the squared of the number, not checking all the numbers. It is a very common way to find the prime number. Well, it is not, the prime number is not the key here. So, and then I'm going to check if the remainder of this to I is equal to 0. Okay, then return false, means it was not prime. Then if you passed all these, then you are a prime number. Then return true. So it's just a very, very simple function. Let's see if we make it correct. Yeah. Okay. So save it. And now to my prime function. Okay. I'm going to import it then, I would say, from mylib import. What was the name? Is prime, right? Is prime. Okay, now I have it here. Then I'm going to write a function just to print the, let's say, below a certain number. So I would like ref print prime numbers or something like this. Numbers, and yeah, whatever. Just let's put some number. And I would say for number in range, I don't know, let's say 20 is okay, yeah. Just the prime numbers before the 20. If it is prime, the number, print number, right? Very simple. And let's, because it's going to be very fast, let me import time as well. Import time just to sleep between the prints. Very simple. And after printing, then time, data sleep, I don't know, like maybe 0.2 seconds. Yeah. And that's it. And then print prime numbers. Yeah. So it should be it. So now if I, let me go here. If I just Python prime, I should go to cd code test. So Python prime, it should, as you can see, the prime numbers between this. Okay. Here, as you can see, in this case, I have, I can say I have two Python files in my project. Okay. And I want to say, for example, in this case, how can I do, let's say, somehow compile or let's say obfuscate both files at the same time. Okay, so one way is just to use other parameters that the Pyarmor gives me. So I will go to the mother file, means mother parent. I mean, I'm in the Pyarmor. Then I will use Pyarmor gen. This O basically means, for example, the output you are going to have. Let's say, for example, maybe up means obfuscated folder. If I put -I and then code test, so, or maybe make it write it simple, code test, right? So basically here we are going to generate a folder. This O means output, and we are going to get everything that exists here, right? Means these two files. So let's see how it's going to help us. So as you can see, it generates a folder. And of course, the runtime again. Let me close this one. So runtime again. And let me close these two as well. Okay, here. We have prime, as you can see again, to the bytecode, and also the other functions. So sometimes your code might have, I don't know, hundreds of other Python files or something or whatever. Here you can simply do all of them together at the same time, which I think sometimes could be useful. So let's talk about other, let's say, things that we can do. I'm going to delete it, delete this opus. Or before that, let's run it and check. Opus and Python. What was the name? The name is PrimePy, right? Which looks like this. So Python prime Python. Oh, okay. CD is still CD. Code test Python prime. Okay. Let's see what is the error. So this is the prime. This is the leave. Let me clear everything. Okay, the problem is basically, as we can see, it's like it cannot import it. But sorry, I paused the video because I didn't want to waste your time for a few minutes. And as you can see, it has an import problem. But the thing is, since this Pyarmor runtime is in the same folder as Prime, it should have an absolute path, not relative path. So here, basically, if we just delete these dots and then here do the same, right? Now, if I, let's say, somehow run it, okay, so even the encrypted version run perfect, right? So now let me delete the obfuscated version. And as I said, like you can, if you want to give it to, I don't know, another company, another person or whatever, you have to give all the folders together because it's related on this runtime, and without this, this code itself wouldn't work, right? So let me delete it. And now we have fresh code here. So so now the very, let's say, things that we can do is just, let me again go to a simple code. I don't know, let's say hello.py, and here I would say, I don't know, just print I am going to be obfuscated or whatever, right? So here I have this code, and let me make everything clear here. There are some other commands that you can use. Okay. Pyarmor basically gives you some ability to restrict your code, like put some kind of with a expiration date. For example, you can say this script can allow only to be run from now to, I don't know, 30 days later, or to a certain date, right? So how you can achieve this? Just it's Pyarmor again, Pyarmor, and then gen, which is generate. Okay, Then let's just put a default. You can put output or whatever name you want, but I don't want to do this. So then you just simply put E, and for example, I don't know, 10 days or whatever days you want, and the script itself. So here it should be, okay, I have to change the path because it's still obfuscated. Okay, okay, okay. Oops. Let me just put another terminal. So what was the terminal here? Yeah, here it's hidden because I made it, let's say, somehow bigger. So let's go to code test. Okay, here I'm here. So again, I'm going to run Pyarmor and Jan, and okay, 10 days or whatever, 12 days, then hello.py, right? It generates it, okay? And okay, I haven't put the E, dash E 12. Okay, now, as you can see, it is in the dist folder, and of course encrypted, and it's only will run until the, let's say, 10 days, 12 days, whatever days we just put here, right? Or you can simply, instead of this, you can put a, I don't know, some kind of date. For example, we are in 2024, 24, and let's say 3 or 4 to, I don't know, 15, right? You can even do it like this. Okay, so oh, it says invalid info string to 24.4. Maybe I should put 0 here. Yes, yes, yeah, it should be like this. So it can be run like this as well. So it is limited to that time. But there are even other cool limitation that you can use. And for example, you want to restrict your code. Let me delete it. Yeah. You want to restrict your code on a certain machine only, okay? And what a certain machine has, how can you detect it? Usually you can use MAC addresses, right? I don't know, hard drive MAC address, or I don't know, like the Ethernet MAC address or IP or whatever. So basically, it's this Pyarmor gives you some kind of, let's say, functionality. If you just put the Python -m, then Pyarmor, I go like this. If I'm a Pyarmor, then CLI, then HD info, something like this. As you can see, it gives you some kind of, let's say, information that I want to, for example, limit my code to be run on this hard drive serial disk, for example, this, right? So how can I achieve that? Here, I will just write Pyarmor, armor, then Jan. I would, of course, here you can again set the output, but I don't want at the moment. And the code is B, basically binding to this specific, let's say, hard drive, and the code itself. So still, now it is run and it generated this, and it is somehow limited to this machine. So if I want to run it, Python in the dist and hello, yeah, I'm going to be obfuscated. So it runs basically. And if you want to, sometimes you want to put different type of, like, multiple type of what is it called, limitation. For example, if I run it here again, you want to put both this and this. If you want to do this, it's enough that you put a quotation like here, and the space again, quotation. So you just put a space in between. So if I put it here and I put it here, right? Now it is limited on both of them, right? So as you can see, it gives off some kind of cool functionality. Uh, uh, of course, once again, it is not something that for 100% wants you makes your code unreadable, but we can say fairly enough to at least more than 90% of the users cannot are not that advanced to reverse the code and see the script itself, as your script is going to look like something like this and translated by Pyarmor. So you can use it. Then, of course, read the documentation. There are many, 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 many more things to see and learn. And hope you enjoyed. And if you have any question, like always, drop me a comment and I try to answer all of them. So take care and have a good day, night, weekend, whatever. Bye.